Hey friends, Rob Phoenix, Powwow Guy here. Just kind of have some thoughts. It's as you know, it's Holy Week. So I've been thinking about kind of religious things all week, and it's just really uh because of all the goings on within like Christian tradition this week, it's really made me really think deeply about my faith and the foundation of that faith and Christian tradition in general. Practicing folk magic traditions like powwow and such that have Christianity at its core. It just made me realize that Christianity, in and of itself, is a very, very rich and intense tradition. Uh, there's several thousand years worth of history and tradition built up into what is now known as Christian tradition. Now, there are various, of course, denominations and different schools of thought within Christianity, and that just that's human nature. To You have a disagreement, so you go off in one school of thought, and that person goes off into another school of thought, and it's just the way the world is. It's just the way humans are designed. But what's interesting now is that it seems like a lot of people who are um, esoterically minded, maybe, or oriented toward occult studies or magical studies and such um, in the past like 2 decades, there has been this shift from sort of the fairy tale silliness of like people dancing around dressed as fairies and whatever goddesses and flowers and blessed bees and all this, to a more serious take on folk magic and such, and actually like studying more about historical folk magic and traditions that actually existed within cultures and history and such. And many of those have Christianity as its at its core. And so a lot of people, myself included, are finding ways that, hey, it's okay for us to be Christian. And we do actually have these very rich, like magical folk traditions. So it's like we're progressing with on one level, we're progressing with this like new way of embracing Christianity, by maybe getting rid of the church hierarchy and the ritualistic, monotonous recitation of various like words and responses that you find within church. You know, Freeing ourselves from those like, you must be exactly this kind of a person if you're going to call yourself a Christian. We're kind of breaking away from that and saying, no, we understand God, we understand the Holy Trinity, we understand what Christ is, we can have that personal relationship, and there is a lot of power there. Not for the sake of gaining power, but it's just a lot more powerful and profound when you can step away from those from basically the church, I guess you could say, or like the confines of all these little rules and regulations and ritualistic things that you have to follow and read. The pastor says this and everybody responds this, then they say this, then you say this. Like, come on. That's I can't believe that Jesus would have wanted his church to turn out that way. So um I'm kind of rambling, but I think it's great that we have like this more progressive look and take on a personal relationship with Christ, but while going back and now revisiting some of our really old folk magic traditions and bringing them into the modern day. Powwow is such a tradition. Back in the day, people didn't understand, they didn't have intellectual understandings of the goings on of church. They didn't even know all about it. Most of the Bible was not even available to people, or if it was, a lot of people couldn't read. It's just the way it was. Nowadays, we have access to like everything. We have so much information at our fingertips, literally, that we can see all of this. We can see these thousands of years worth of ritualistic things and traditions and beliefs, and where all in the different parts of the world and time periods that these things come from and meld into, and where it's all led up to in the modern world. And now we know so much, that we know that we can take that big chunk of it and set it aside and say, okay, I know so much about this now that I'm going to strip all that away, and all I really need is this. And so we're progressing away from all that baggage and such, but pulling those things from our history that work for us, such as our folk traditions. And that's really like folk Christianity. That's what that is. It's the Christianity practiced by the people, not dictated by the church. And so we have our little folk traditions like powwow. I noticed there's been a resurgence in like hoodoo practitioners actually embracing hoodoo as it was historically known, with its Christian, with its African-American roots, with its Southern Baptist church roots. Because people are finding it is okay to be a Christian, and people are saying, oh, you can't be a Christian and practice magic. Not so. Christianity has, from its inception, has been a tradition of magic. Oh, you can't be a Christian unless you're nice to everybody and you let everybody walk all over you and you never retaliate and you never feel anger or anything. Not so. So people are always telling me, what kind of a Christian I have to be. And, you can keep that crap to yourself, because I'm not interested. I know what kind of a person I am. I know my flaws. I know my strengths. I know what kind of a Christian I am, and I know what kind of a powwower I am. So it's really cool that as Christians, we can say, we actually have a lot of magical traditions throughout history. You look at the Catholic, I'm not sure what they called themselves. I don't think they called themselves Strega. I think that was a name put on them as a blasphemous word. I can't think of the right word to say it, like an insult. I don't think they would ever have referred to themselves as witches, but they were largely Catholic. You look at the English cunning folk, Christian. The Irish charmers, we have the hoodoo, powwow, and the curanderismo. So we have these large, like huge amount of traditions to draw from within Christian tradition. So we don't need to get all crazy and just reinvent the wheel and make up all this new stuff. We have a lot to choose from, and I really like that. Certainly people are free to do whatever they want, but just be honest with yourself and be honest with the people that you're teaching. Otherwise, I really, really think it's just been such a great week for me. In many ways, I'm feeling great. Whatever, it's Easter, so I'm really pleased about that. But Christianity does not need to be obsessively poring over every detail of the Bible and doing your best to live up to this, because it's impossible. A lot of these like rules and this laws and such were made thousands of years ago in a little tiny piece of property on this earth to apply to those folk. It has expanded and grown, and so therefore it must grow and change with the times. But we do still have our traditions that we can claim that they are rightfully ours, they are rightfully Christian. And so I'm really pleased with that, because Christians can, it's okay to be a Christian. You're allowed to be Christian, and you can still have your folk magic traditions. We've had them for centuries, and it's good. So yeah, for anybody feeling any kind of doubt, like, I'm feeling conflicted because is this good with God or whatever, just watch some of my videos, pray about it if you must, but really we're okay. We have hundreds of years worth of magical traditions that you can choose from, that you can feel confident in learning and picking up, and they're very well documented in history. So you shouldn't have any trouble finding like actual true information about them. So anyway, that's just my kind of like my Good Friday rant, just thinking about religious stuff, just watching some, videos on YouTube about all the places that Jesus walked and such, throughout his life. Anyway, interesting stuff, but it just made me think. I want to share some my random crazy thoughts with you guys. So that's it. Love you guys. God bless you all. And I'll have a weekly update coming either tomorrow or Sunday. Happy Easter.